You will notice that our chairs are a little depleted. President Miller is on a well-earned vacation. Trustee Kate is receiving a well-earned award, and Interim President Helen Benjamin is attending a memorial service. So you're stuck with me for what hopefully is a short meeting. I shouldn't have said that, should I? All right. Item 3.1, longevity recognitions. And our first is presented by Melissa Moreno, and that is for Michael Medell.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Members of the board and acting superintendent president. I am so excited to present to Michael Medell his longevity award for 15 years of service. Let me take a few minutes to talk about who Michael is and his history with the college, and then I want you to hear what others and I have to say about Michael. In 1996, Michael was a student at SBCC and got his first job here working with Eric Fricke in security. I think he must have been 12 years old. Then he worked for Admissions and Records as a student hourly, and he transferred to San Diego State and returned with a bachelor's degree and started substitute teaching in Canalino Elementary School in his hometown of Carpinteria, and persisted part-time in Admissions and Records as an hourly. Eventually, Michael got a full-time job as a student program advisor in the financial aid department, and then as a SPA in enrollment services, and then as a manager. Somewhere down the line, Michael started teaching in the communications department. He is now on his 5th year as the director of Admissions and Records, and in his 11th year teaching as an adjunct. But that's not all. Michael is an amazing member of our community and has served on various nonprofit boards such as the United Boys and Girls Club, Leading From Within, and the SB Youth Council. Currently, he serves as a Governor Jerry Brown appointee as president of the board for Earl Warren Showgrounds. I heard incredible things about Michael and his leadership from his team, and he's very popular, so I'm just going to give you a boiled down version of what his team had to say. I've never seen a director who's so committed to his employees and the institution. He's a true leader. He changed the culture, and now the sun is always shining in A&R. He sets the example, offers wisdom, advocates for his team. He's respectful, conscientious, and dedicated. He is brave and implements positive change. He makes us feel supported and listened to, a resourceful leader, and words that describe Michael are balanced, reflective, dedicated, strategic, comedic, patient, and knowledgeable. Even though technically Michael is not a part of my team at Extended Learning, I consider him to be one of us. Michael has been such an incredible supporter and partner to the School of Extended Learning. We have worked really hard together on process improvement, and he has always been willing to brainstorm solutions and help implement them. He's a trusted and dear colleague, and I can say without a doubt he will continue his trajectory at SBCC into greater and greater responsibility and roles in leadership. So Michael, where are you? Congratulations on your 15 years of service.
Wow, Dr. Moreno, thank you so much for those amazing words. He sounds like a great guy. Thank you so much for your leadership. I truly enjoy working with you and appreciate you greatly. Members of the board, Vice President Ralston, thank you so much for this honor. I'll try to keep my comments brief. I have two big thank yous. One, I'd like to accept responsibility for being a great leader and manager, but I think anybody that's ever been a great leader or manager knows that you don't achieve greatness on your own. You do so because you have a great team and a great staff. And so a lot of my staff members are here today from admissions. They are absolutely amazing. I couldn't do what I did without them. They work so hard every day for this college and for the department. And so staff, thank you so much for the hard work that you do. You're amazing. I appreciate you. I respect you and honor you for this as well. So thank you to them. And then just thank you to the college in general. I've been here for quite a while, as Dr. Moreno said. I started out as a student. And it's been a long journey, but it's been a very successful journey and a happy journey because of the many people that work here and how dedicated they are for not only students, but staff, management, faculty. One of my favorite quotes is by Walt Disney. He said, "You can build and create the most magical place in the world, but it's the people that make the dreams become the reality." I wouldn't be where I am today without amazing people that work at this college and are dedicated and show up every single day to improve students' lives. And so I'm eternally grateful for the college as well. So thank you.
Chris Miller is being recognized today for 15 years, but he's not here, but he's being recognized nevertheless by Jim Clark. Is Jim here? No. Well, all right, I'll recognize him. Chris Miller has been here for 30 years. I remember Chris Miller when he was just a kid. Well, not quite, but just about that way. And he has worked in a variety of places and for a variety of people. In most notably, the duplicating shop, where I would go in the last minute and hope that Chris could bail me out and get my stuff duplicated, and so that I could meet my class appearing to be prepared. And he always managed to keep me out of trouble. And then he succeeded into communications networks. He was responsible for all of our telephones and did a magnificent job in that. So recognizing him is not an inconsequential thing. We move on to the next spot, but I'm remiss, I forgot to mention that we do have public comment. That's a matter of practice as well as law. We need public input, and typically we have the shutdown door coming down precisely at 4 o'clock, and I had intended to give an extra 5 minutes in the event that somebody came a little late and wanted to speak to us. So we'll take that 5 minutes from this announcement. Item 3.2, outstanding classified employee and honorable mention classified employees. And here to have our recognition, head of our classified
Thank you, Dr.
employees.
Hasland. Members of the board, it's my honor to be able to announce the winners. We had 19 nominations this time. It's almost a record for us. And the decisions made by the combination of the Classified Consultation Group and the CSEA Executive Committee. But first, before I start, I wanted to thank the Foundation Board, because they're the ones that make this award possible. They do the contribution. So without the SBC Foundation, we wouldn't be able to give these awards, so I wanted to thank them. Okay. Plus, I want to say, it was, with 19 nominations, it was very difficult for the committee to make selections. So everybody's really a winner. So all these 5 were picked out of 19, so they're really all winners. Okay, start out. First honorable mention, works in the math department as a lab teaching assistant. Thanks to her creativity, gentle leadership, and deeply informed and forward-thinking interpersonal skills, The Math Lab has evolved into a vibrant, larger-than-life, welcoming space that excellently serves equally well our most vulnerable and most advanced students. She is now one of only 2 LTAs running the Math Lab with immense efficiency and human kindness, a rare, wonderful combination. She offers content-specific tutoring in the highest level classes, provides technical troubleshooting support for the computer lab, gathers and analyzes data for program review and special reports. She attends conferences and takes university and graduate level math classes at UCSB. For many years, she has gone above and beyond, and her contributions have touched almost every student on campus, as almost all students are required to take math. She is truly exceptional and selfless in her support of SBCC. Please recognize Allison Chapin as an honorable mention. Now, Allison couldn't be here today, so Loretta is going to come and accept the award for her. The next honorable mention works for the School of Culinary Arts as a lab teaching assistant. He's in charge of the catering class, which is a course that a student must take to fulfill the requirements of the culinary certificate. The course that he runs facilitates the catering needs for the SBCC campus. He is a graduate from the School of Culinary Arts, the class of 2001. He has a solid and professional work ethic and a passion to create good food for SBC community. He has done events that range from the Vaquero Welcome, graduation, breakfast, and lunch, the holiday party, to the president's events and faculty lectures. He is patient with the students he guides, and he remains calm under pressure. This job is often overlooked, but is very important and brings happiness and joy to events at SBCC. He has also volunteered at Our Lady of Guadalupe for the past 23 years, making food for Old Spanish Days. Please recognize Chef Roberto Lopez Carrillo as an honorable mention. The next honorable mention has worked as an SBCC maintenance tech for 5 years. He has helped us out in the administration building on many occasions, including rodent removal and abating, unclogging sinks, replacing light fixtures, and providing maintenance on the interior walls and ceilings when needed. He does not give up on finding a solution to a problem, and we will appreciate his perseverance to get the job done. His supervisor remarks, he works tirelessly as one of only 2 maintenance technicians on campus Monday through Friday. On weekends, he continues his support of the college, serving as a community services coordinator. His helpful and attentive attitude is what makes him a truly outstanding employee. He shows the same dedication to his work as he does towards his family. He has a high degree of technical ability, but his caring nature and craftsmanship that make him a great employee. Please recognize Jose Pepe Acosta as an honorable mention. Okay. The last honorable mention today works in the Faculty Resource Center as a senior development specialist. In this position, she conducts many faculty trainings. She receives accolades from faculty and staff throughout the year after they participate in her training or in projects that she has supported. She looks for simple solutions to complex problems that faculty present to her. Her responses to faculty questions are often in the form of face-to-face and online mini tutoring sessions. The range of projects she has developed is diverse. She recently worked with faculty lecturer Jody Millward in preparing her lecture presentation. She's also worked with the associate degree in vocational nursing programs, the School of Justice Studies, the Psychology Department, the English and Composition Department, the Creative Writing Program, and many others. She has attended statewide and national conferences in online teaching strategies and educational uses of technology. She takes LinkedIn learning courses to supplement her understanding of educational technology and instructional design. She's a vital member of the FRC team and an outstanding colleague for all those who she works with at SBCC. Recognize Karen Shannon as an honorable mention. Okay, the 2019 Outstanding Classified Employee of the Year. She has worked for over 10 years as a custodian and facilities assistant in the Facilities and Operations Department. She is a true behind-the-scenes hero at SBCC. She routinely does the dirty work that keeps the restrooms and high-service areas looking great. Not only does she keep the restrooms clean, but helps to provide recommendations for safety and improvements in these areas. She responds to plumbing emergencies. She has even crawled under stall doors to unlock them. It is a credit to her attitude and work ethic that she can repeatedly take care of the same area over and over. Everyone appreciates that she provides the same level of detail and energy to her work, whether it is her first time on a project or her 1,000th time. She says that her favorite part of the job is helping students and her colleagues with anything they need help with. She's a hard worker and very friendly. She takes great pride in her work to ensure all aspects of her job are completed thoroughly. She is conscientious, efficient, thorough, and always cheerful. She is always willing to make the extra effort to remove graffiti and postings from the walls. She responds to work requests very quickly and works as a team player. Cleaning up after other people is not a glamorous job, but she does this well and takes pride in her work. She is a true gem that makes the day pleasant for all of us, a true unsung hero. Please recognize Maria Luis Romero's as the 2019 Outstanding Classified Employee of the Year. Just to conclude, all of these employees are outstanding employees. And as I say, it was quite a chore for us to pick from them.
The next item is
And the next topic,
is the resolution number 12 about a classified school employee week. Now, what is that all about?
Classified School Employee Week. That was a week that the legislature
Wait a minute, all of our
designated.
classified people are leaving. How's that possible? This is
They
the
don't
exciting
realize
part.
it.
Okay, why don't we
They
give them
wanna
a
congratulate
moment
the winner.
to depart, and then we can begin again. Congratulatory notes are being exchanged, and
Yes.
that's as it should be. Okay.
Okay. Classified School Employee Week was designated by the legislature actually many, many years ago to recognize all of classified staff that work in school districts and other classified staff, but mainly in school districts. It's the third full week of May, which I think this is May 19th through. Since May starts in the middle of a week, it starts, 3 weeks starts at the beginning of next week. And it is really to honor and to appreciate all the classified staff that work in all the school districts. And for our school, we're actually planning quite a few activities. We have a membership committee with CSEA led by Cheryl Brown, and they've been planning for quite a while. So there'll be a burrito breakfast, an ice cream social, some training classes, donuts with the deans. So they spent a lot of work in planning it. So it'll be the week starting, I guess, the 20th. It's Sunday is the 19th. So, and you have the resolution.
We do have a resolution. Thank you very much. It carries with it 4 whereas clauses. I'm never very fond of those, but the resolution itself says, therefore, be it resolved that the Santa Barbara Community College District hereby recognizes and wishes to honor the contribution of the classified school employees to quality education in the state of California and in the Santa Barbara Community College District, and declares the week of May 19th to 25th, 2019 as Classified School Employee Week in the Santa Barbara Community College District. That is the resolution, and I would entertain a motion to pass it.
I move to approve Resolution Number 12, Classified School Employee Week.
And second? Second. Motion is made and seconded. Is there discussion? Hearing none, we move to an immediate vote. All in favor? We need to do this.
It's a resolution.
Roll. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay.
Student trustee Becci.
Aye.
Trustee Haslam.
Aye.
Trustee Nielsen.
Aye.
Trustee Croninger.
Aye.
Trustee Gallardo.
Aye.
Trustee Abud.
Aye.
I think that was pretty close to unanimous. Yes, it was. Terrific. All right. We move on to, we would move on to approval of minutes, but we don't have any. So we move on to public comment.
We're going to recognize 3.4.
Oh, how could I forget that one? I was in such a hurry to get through the meeting. But this one is very important. And is, Patricia, are you going to introduce our next speaker? You are?
Yes. I didn't know I was, but I am.
Well, that's terrific.
I'm going to be winging this. So how do you take a story that's a few thousand years old about a woman who, in a mad escape attempt, chops up her brother and throws his body parts in the water, and then she moves to another island with her husband, who's quite a hunk, and they get married, but then he decides to marry somebody else, so in a fit of anger, she decides to murder all 3 of her children. How do you take this and turn it into a lesson on history and culture and politics and feminism and literature? That was the task before my colleague Jody Millward, who was our faculty lecturer for spring 2019. The faculty lecture is the highest honor that we award any of our faculty members at Santa Barbara City College. Jody is a longtime English professor. She's been instrumental in the multicultural transfer program. Her resume is extensive and long. Her presentation was scholarly and masterful. And I wish I had her bio here so I could share more of it with you. But I'd like to introduce you to Jody Millward and congratulate her on this honor, Faculty Lecture 2019.
I just want to thank you for everything. I'll keep talking. What am I supposed to talk about? I'd like to thank the board for supporting this program, because I think it's really important that when faculty do what we love, we have the opportunity to share it with both faculty and students. I think this is a wonderful program, and I've learned a lot from it. And it was a lot of work, and I enjoyed it, actually. I complained a lot, but I enjoyed it. So, and I want to thank you again, and I will appreciate the honorarium, too. Thank you.
Is this on? Is this on? I forgot to mention, we're talking about Medea. I hope you guys picked up on that, yes. Thank you.
Jody, congratulations. You did a beautiful job. You raised the bar for your successors. Okay. Now we go on to public comment. Public comment is limited to 5 minutes, and if you can do it in less than that, you get a gold star from me. We have one public speaker, Mary Turley, would like to say something about student housing.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Santa Barbara City College trustees, and also to Dr. Benjamin. I emailed a copy of the letter. I'm speaking in response to individuals who spoke during a public comment at a recent city council meeting who expressed support for additional city college student housing at the 801 and 831 Cliff Drive development owned by Mr. St. George, which is across the street, who is also one of the speakers. I want to bring this to your attention, as well as reiterate issues that residents in the area continue to experience as they relate directly to the younger population of out-of-district students attending SBCC and living close to the campus. I'm a resident of the adjacent area, having been here since the 80s, when the out-of-area student population wasn't quite so high. Students were living in the neighborhood, yet it was nowhere near the party atmosphere which exists today. All three speakers at the City Council touted concentrating student housing close to campus, yet they failed to acknowledge the crime and nuisance issues residents in this area, as well as those in the adjacent Mesa Terrace, are experiencing due to the party magnet, which goes by the name of Beach City. Please see the crime and nuisance log. I sent it by email. It's too big. These issues include high levels of noise after 10 p.m. on many Thursday through Saturday evenings, with groups of underage drinkers, cars speeding to and from parties at these apartments. Trash litters the streets after these events, and drunken students urinate, pass out, or passing by homes of working folks at 2 to 3 in the morning is not uncommon. Specifically, this occurs along Loma Alta and Weldon, when coming to and from the west and lower west side to parties at the Beach City. The current noise ordinance provides no protection for this type of transient nuisance. Individuals are gone before police arrive, and residents are left wide awake early in the morning. When I last checked in January, the SNAP program was not fully launched due to difficulty in hiring folks for these positions, and this program is partially funded by SBCC funds. A healthier environment for all is when student housing is located throughout Santa Barbara, Goleta, and Carpinteria, and not concentrated, which creates a party atmosphere. We have very mild winters, and students should be encouraged to ride the bus, walk, ride bikes to SBCC, or some combination, and to integrate with and be respectful of the neighbors in residential areas throughout the city. In residential areas, folks are protected by noise ordinances and fines, and the house is stationary, not walking down the street, drinking a beer or liquor out of a red cup. It is also beneficial to have more students spread out into the wider Santa Barbara community to increase bus ridership and to patronize local shops and restaurants and grocery stores. There are no such amenities on the East Alta Mesa area. In fact, the closest businesses are a 7-Eleven, a liquor store, a very small grocery store, a brewery, a neighborhood bar, and the Funk Zone. Housing is always tight when you're a student, as I know. I've been here since the 70s and been a student. Promoting Santa Barbara to out-of-district students impacts the housing for our workforce. I know that I speak on behalf of many, many residents who want the Santa Barbara City College administration to work towards limiting any attraction of Santa Barbara to out-of-area students. The college should take every effort to communicate the very tight housing market, as well as more extensively promote the availability of a variety of alternative transportation options so that student housing is spread out. Please consider updating the SBCC housing website to reflect all areas of Santa Barbara as attractive and accessible by bus, walking, bike, or combination. Right now, the Santa Barbara City College housing website highlights the Mesa and the West Side with glowing reviews, yet doesn't present the other areas of Santa Barbara as attractive, possibly less expensive, and quieter with more services and restaurants close by. Santa Barbara voters clearly voiced their opinion when voting in the November trustee election and overwhelmingly supported the continued focus on local student needs against the idea of dedicated student housing, specifically for out-of-area students. I welcome the results of the housing survey and encourage asking the right questions to determine the city or zip code where students graduated from high school and how long they have resided within the district in relation to their housing need or their level of housing insecurity. Since transportation and housing are intimately linked, questions related to use and/or the knowledge of alternative forms of transportation should also be included. Please continue to focus on the needs of local and in-district students who need to complete their education programs, transfer credits, and/or engage in lifelong learning opportunities. I'm run over, I'm sure. Thank you very much. And I also realize the problem is usually a small group of students, and on the majority, this is a great school and there's great students, but we just need to communicate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That brings to a close our public comments. Communications. Item 6.1. Patricia.
Hello again. I just had the honor of introducing the 2019 faculty lecturer, Dr. Jody Millward, who gave a lecture on Medea, a point I forgot to make. Our faculty lecture is presented to an outstanding faculty member recognized by his or her peers for their outstanding classroom counseling or librarianship, and also for extraordinary beyond the call service to the college. And what I would like to do now is show you a short clip where our new faculty lecturer learns that he will be the person. We call this the ambush. Oh, we need to get some volume. I have to tell you that our faculty lecturer is an American Sign Language teacher and part of the deaf community, but we still have sound with this video. So, see if we can get it. Sorry.
So this is the trigger. This is the trigger to the ambush. And we're mobilizing. We're mobilizing.
All of these faculty members you're seeing now are previous faculty lecturers, some of whom are now retired, who come back to the college for the ambush. They go to the teacher's classroom while he is teaching. Oops, too far. Back. Okay. That's okay. So Dr. Ignacio Ponce is the chair of our American Sign Language Department. It is it lives in our School of Modern Languages. It's one of the most popular languages that we teach at Santa Barbara City College. So for the first time, our faculty lecture will be delivered entirely in American Sign Language. When I was working for newspapers, I used to say that nobody gives themselves more awards than journalists. Then I came to work for a college. But all of these awards are greatly deserved. And what I'd like to do today is to show you the nominees, the Academic Senate's nominees for the John Rice Diversity Award, and also our 4 Faculty Excellent Award nominees. This year, our nominee is a group of faculty, and they're called the Learn Committee, Leaders for Equity, Anti-Racism, and Reparations Now. This is a group that was founded through our Title III grant, and I've excerpted from the statement a summary of what this group does. A grassroots committee comprising a variety of stakeholders across campus, including faculty, staff, and managers, who came together after independently expressing frustration about the lack of broad, deep diversity and inclusion training at SBCC and myriad problems that students, faculty, and staff in color have experienced because of this lack. What started as an informal hallway discussion prompted the creation of an independently grant-funded committee who set out to offer rigorous, meaningful, and impactful anti-racism training for all members of our campus community, recognizing that such training serves the beginning of a lifelong commitment to developing equity-based programs and pedagogy. We call it the Learn Committee, and we are now sending that nomination over to the State Academic Senate. And now we have our Faculty Excellence Awards. We nominate 4 faculty members from diverse divisions. These awards are made by our Faculty Recognition Committee. It's a Senate committee that has division-wide representation, and they do outreach to take a look for those special folks who work often behind the scenes, often unrecognized, who we like to bring to your attention. And we have 4 of them. I'm not going to read all of this, but I'll leave it up here for a second. From our American Ethnic Studies Department, Melinda Gandara. From our Academic Counseling Office, Vanessa Ogeen. I'll just read a couple of excerpts. From Melinda, Professor Gandara is one of those special instructors who helps her students make connections between the classroom material and the real world, relating ideas discussed in class to current events. Melinda's dedication is also clear in her constant reflection on how to deepen her students' engagement. And Vanessa Olguin. Vanessa works hard year-round in an effort to best serve students. She's continuously brainstorming new ideas independently and collaboratively to create systematic change. I go to the end. Vanessa is always positive, and in any discussion, she always sees the potential in the conversation. David Starkey, English Department. I can talk my way through this one because David is a friend and colleague that I know well. He is a poet. He was our poet laureate for the city of Santa Barbara. He's published many poems. He's written a column for The Independent. He also has he established the creative writing program at Santa Barbara City College and the degrees associated with that. So he's also brought a range of very high-profile speakers to campus, high-profile writers. And then finally, Dave Vasey from the Marine Diving Program. I'm going to go straight. Well, this one just very compelling from beginning to end. It's on campus at 5:30 every day, often teaches beyond the time allotted to ensure his students gain the most time in the lab, comes in on his own to repair and maintain equipment, positive caring, always reaching out to learn about his students. He takes them for coffee or breakfast or lunch. He puts students underwater in zero visibility and has them weld and burn in harsh environments in the ocean. Dan does this with a flawless safety record. He keeps his students alive and safe and return to their family. That's a wow in a discipline where people have the potential for injury and death. I wanted to show you our new tenured professors. I think, Marcia, you were there at our really just incredibly touching reception where these faculty members who have now completed 4 years, that include rigorous peer evaluation, are now tenured professors. And I know what I found particularly gratifying and encouraging and heartwarming and inspiring is just how happy they all are to be here and how fulfilling they find this work to a person. And this is the name of them. You'll see they're across all disciplines. And then finally, to wrap up, yesterday, our Academic Senate passed our own resolution. I haven't got it formatted yet because the day has been very long, but I think it's important enough that I read it in its entirety. Whereas Santa Barbara City College is a community of diverse students, faculty, staff, and administrators. Whereas the SBCC Academic Senate recognizes that despite the current equity and inclusion efforts, hurtful acts against marginalized communities, including but not limited to color, gender, and ability, occur on our campus, and these acts have caused harm and contradict our values. Whereas all faculty, students, staff, and administrators have the right to study and work in a safe environment free of racism, discrimination, and intolerance. Whereas as educators, we have a responsibility to promote, protect, and ensure equity and inclusion in our role at Santa Barbara City College. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Santa Barbara City College Academic Senate supports creating a campus-wide climate that reflects mutual respect between all constituencies, students, faculty, staff, and administrators, while respecting established academic freedom, and resolve that the Academic Senate advocates for a governance process that addresses both overt acts of racism and institutional acts of bias in a manner where the input of all affected are taken into consideration, and resolve that the Academic Senate urges the board and college administration to provide active support and necessary resources for diversity and equity efforts, which are aligned with Santa Barbara City College's mission to provide students a diverse learning environment that inspires curiosity and discovery, promotes global responsibility, and fosters opportunity for all. And finally, resolve that the Academic Senate supports the exploration of requiring anti-racism and anti-bias professional development and education for all employees in alignment with California state mandated anti-sexism training to improve campus climate and to ensure an inclusive environment for all SBC educational efforts. Thank you very much.
Any questions of President of the Academic Senate? Okay, thank you, Patricia. Oh, what
I
question?
just wanted to say it's a very beautiful resolution. Thank you for passing it.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, report by Associated Students. Josh?
Hello, board. Nice to see you again. So, for my report, I want to start off by talking about some of the events that ASG's been doing on campus. A lot of our focus has been has gone towards spending money that we've gotten from the student activities fund, or the student activities fee. So that's what a lot of our work has been towards since February 28th. So I'm going to go over some of the things we've been doing since then. One of the first things is we had a ASG Spring Festival yesterday, which we had, bouncy houses and dunk tanks, a little something that the school could, a lot of the students could relax at. If you haven't seen the Instagram, there's a lot of pictures on the SVCC Instagram, so check it out. Another thing is that we allocated $6,000 to our permaculture garden on West Campus. So we're going to be supporting a lot of the food that goes to the food pantry. And then on top of that, we had an equity, Robert's Rules of Order, Brown Act training 2 weekends ago. The equity piece, like I mentioned last time I gave my report, is a newer piece. So we're really excited that we had that done, and Just Communities provided that for us. And we have a new perspective on things. And this is mostly for our 3 new members, which I'm going to tell you who they are. We had the equity piece in there for our 3 new members that will be serving on the Associated Student Government next year. So after that, we went to General Assembly. As you know, I always report on General Assembly. We went to General Assembly. 4 out of our 7 members attended that. And then the election results that we have 3 people confirmed in their spots. Alexandra Montes de Oca is the new president of the Associated Student Government next year. We have Kenny Egbechi, the student trustee for next year, and Sage Gaspar, the student advocate for next year. So you can look forward to working with those 3 amazing individuals. I'm really excited to have them pushing the forefront for our students next year. We had Club of the Year announced. National Society for Black Engineers was the choice that the Associated Student Government had gone with. And we had 2 honorable mentions, the American Sign Language Club and the Society of Women in Space Engineering. In the past 2 months, since February 28th, we've given out a total of $3,810 in club grants, and other organizational and club support we've given out was around $5,650. And that goes towards stuff like the Robotics Club project, which we gave around $1,200 towards, so that our STEM students can get hands-on experience on drones. So they're working on a couple drones by adding GPS systems onto them. Really exciting stuff. Also, another project is a table that's sustainable. So they're working on a new table to put on campus that the Energy Club project, or the Energy Club, is working on a table that will use sun energy to charge phones. It's a better version of the current table that they have on campus right now. So we give them around $1,000 to work on that. On top of that, we've done other things with organizations on campus, such as supporting the Spring Formal tonight that the Ambassadors is having, and the PTK movie that they showed, the Bollywood movie that they showed a while back. 2 more things I do want to mention with our club support. Neuro Club, we sent them to a conference, so that's going to allow our students to get a lot of hands-on experience in their field. And then Noche de Ciencias is another event that we help support, that SHIP usually puts on in the poor communities in our area. So what they do is they go to Casa de la Raza and they put on a bunch of put a bunch of tables out for a lot of the clubs, and there are clubs, STEM clubs there, such as Biology Club or Robotics Club, and it allows the families that can't drive out far distances and take their kids to these events, and allows their children to have these opportunities to go learn about some cool STEM project, whether it be learning about space and time exploration, which Sean Kelly does with his marbles and his little black trampoline, or learning how it's pretty easy to start coding at a young age. So that's another thing that we supported. Moving forward, so that's all the stuff that we've done since February 28th. Moving forward, we're looking towards our Earth Day event. Actually, that actually happened already today. We put the Earth Day event on today. So that I heard was really great. Fair trade support awareness on campus is another thing. And then the last thing I have for you moving forward, since we are at the end of the semester, is the vote results on the activity fee increase from $5 to $8. So this is something that the ASG put on the ballot for the students to vote on, and this is to ask the students whether or not they would want to raise the current activities fee from $5 to $8, and this would help in many ways, such as sustainability projects on campus, such as the permaculture garden, or other things such as helping to put on these events to create that culture that we've been trying to do since the beginning on campus, or helping our low-income students in any way we can. One of the things we're going to do this upcoming weekend is provide snacks for our students in the library. I'm talking to some people about doing a Costco run and bringing a lot of snacks to the students, just like grinding it out in the library the weekend before finals. So that's pretty much it for my report. Pretty long. I emailed you some highlights. Please email me if you have any questions. I kind of go through my report a little fast, but yeah.
Thank you, Josh. Are there questions or comments of our student body president? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker would have been Liz, but she indicated that there was no report beyond what she had already given. And so we move on to the report from the interim superintendent president, who's not here. This is going to be a short meeting, except that there might be some words.
Yes. So we could talk about this now. We could talk about it in future agenda items. So
Would you rather do that?
whichever way you'd like to go. So I thought that we might want to talk a little bit about how we want to learn about the college's efforts in meeting several of the state mandates and initiatives for the study session in May. And so we can decide how we would like to go about bringing that information for you. I think so. Can you hear me at all?
No, it was on before.
It-
Yeah, now it's off. Now it's off.
Ah,
There you go.
okay. Sorry about that. I misread the up-down picture on that. So we could either talk during future agenda items or here at the not president's part of the report. Dr. Benjamin spoke with me about how we might be able to bring some information to the board to talk about how we're meeting the state initiatives and mandates that are kind of coming down, ways in which you'd like to hear an update about guided pathways and AB 705, the Vision for Success goal initiative alignment, where the Chancellor's Office has set the Vision for Student Success goals, and we are working through setting our local response to those, and you'll be seeing a first reading of those at the May 9th meeting on the agenda, and then we'd like to be able to kind of contextualize those in a study session with the efforts that we're making around those.
Okay. Questions, thoughts?
I think that sounds wonderful. And I know that the scope of even that study session, I mean, the scope of that work is huge. So wherever it lands for you guys that you want to start us off with, I think we've all read the literature, and at least there's so much stuff that's publicly available online. So I think that this is definitely long overdue and very timely.
Great.
So thank you.
We thought about trying to approach it from an integrated standpoint,
Yeah.
so you could see the relationships between the items, and then we could maybe over the next period of time pull some of the pieces out for deeper dive.
Yeah.
Marcia?
I'd just second Veronica's comment that very much like to hear about this
Great.
and looking forward to it.
Great, thank you.
And if there's any, thinking of the flipped classroom in mind, if there is any advanced literature that you want to highlight so that then we can have our brain activated and sort of, I think it'll help us engage. Because there's a plethora of information, and I know we all have it bookmarked in different areas, and not everybody does binders like me, which I learned that by Marty, by the way, because she always had her binders. So I'd appreciate, even if you guys did that beforehand too, so we can be even more prepared.
Certainly.
So it could be a discussion, not just, we always get overwhelmed with so much information.
Great.
Because it's good.
So are we thinking of this as a study session or a board meeting?
So your next board meeting is one of your study session meetings.
but
They're
we
the
would-
same thing.
It's the same
Same
thing.
thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
right, but we sort of behave as if every meeting is a meeting as opposed to, but if we say we're going to do this as a study session, I think it's more appropriate, given the breadth of the information that's going to be shared. Craig?
Yeah, there's been waiting on this, trying to be patient, asking questions. It's pretty important, at least to me, and I'm sure to the others, that we know how our campus is responding to these mandates and what's being planned. I get asked about it when I'm out in public, and I don't really have enough information.
Certainly.
Even if I understand it overall and have read, but what are we specifically doing, or how are we planning to do this? So thank you very much for responding.
Great.
Okay, are we all done? Okay. We move on to item 7, the development of the consent agenda. Are there items on the agenda that you would like to remove from the consent agenda? Marcia?
I just have a short question. It doesn't need to be removed.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to ask?
Yeah.
Or do you want to develop the agenda first? Or something?
Well, if the answer to the question will speed things up and move the consent agenda, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. My question is, and I think Pamela's ready to tell me about it, is I'm used to seeing the larger numbers for expenses under the purchase orders, where we usually have some pretty big numbers in the
But that's not, oh.
experts and volunteers is where I'm going is in experts and volunteers, we have some large numbers which look to be, relatively large numbers, which look to be companies rather than people. And so I'm curious why they're there and not in the purchase order category. Is there some criterion going on that I missed?
Does it have a?
My internet's also.
So are you thinking?
It's under Human Resources Actions Involving Experts and Volunteers, and we have somebody doing review, process, and compliance for the Clery Act for almost $27,000, Interact Communications doing financial literacy, redesign website, $75,000, Lundgren doing managing various construction for $128,000. So I'm just used to seeing the big numbers not under experts and volunteers.
And Marcia, are you referring to, because of the part in Ed Code where it talks about we approve contracts separately? Yeah.
Good afternoon. It's not even yet, is it? Afternoon. I can answer a handful of these.
Great.
Yeah. So let's start off with the first large one, the Clery Act, that compliance one. So this is a audit that's being done to review all of our Clery reporting. I don't know are you familiar with what the Clery reporting is? I think you are, yeah. This is something that we have not done in the past, but it was approved through our budget process last year to do an audit of all of our Clery work, our processes, our procedures, make sure that we're reporting everything correctly. Although I realize that may not be your question. Are you wondering why it's on this and not on the other one?
Or why it's not a contract, perhaps, the way.
Because they don't really, under Ed Code, those have to come to us just to comply with Ed Code, that all contracts need to be approved by the board.
Now I'm going to kick it to our interim acting HRVP, because I don't know, but I know what these items are.
I did have a secondary question, which you would have gotten to, which is what Lundgren is supervising. But typically, when we've seen Lundgren before, it's as a contract to do as well.
Yeah, Lundgren is managing the Campus Center shear wall construction project.
Okay.
So it's quite a large project that we need outside project management assistance for. But yeah, I'm not sure why it's showing up here and not in our normal area.
It's only because I really don't know any better.
No.
And it seemed like a good place for it to be, but.
So should we just table it and it'll come back cleaned up so we're like all in Or is that going to hold, or is there
I
a
would-
way to take
I would
some of these
like it
out?
not- I would like it not to have a procedural issue.
Yeah, because it's important stuff.
What's your pleasure? Do you want to remove?
Well, to comply with that code, so that all contracts go to the board, which probably is important. But then also not to stop the work that needs to get done. So what would be the best solution to move it forward but be in compliance?
Yeah, I think it would be best that we move it to the right
Table
place.
it?
Yeah,
And then-
and bring it back.
On May 9th.
But are you, now, what are you tabling? Just the experts and?
Just those 3 items, I think, are the only ones. The rest of the experts and volunteers are
Enumerate the
typical.
items, will you?
So what you're going to do is remove them from the agenda?
Right.
Is
So
that,
I need
is,
to know, I need to know what the numbers are?
so do we know which ones need to be under contracts, and then that way, Angela?
I think 8.3, is that correct?
Yeah, but it's 8.3, it's only a number of items within 8.3. That should be contracts and not experts and volunteers.
Excuse me. Do you think we could pass this and then you guys could just transfer, do the budget adjustment, transfer it to the items to where they belong so that when we see the end product that it makes sense?
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the form in which it comes to the board for approval. It
Right.
needs to be a contract, and this is just a list of people normally.
Yeah,
So
but
we're
they
not
could-
approving it the
but
way
they-
it needs to be approved, I think.
I don't know that that really matters if the end results get recorded correctly and organized properly.
Believe it or not, I actually did read the chapter in Ed Code, because I have it, because I don't know why,
Okay.
but that is the last chapter I read, and for whatever reason, that's why these contracts come to us. And I don't know, I just have that one fresh in my mind that I read this
So
weekend.
what would be your recommendation?
I think we should bring it back
Okay.
listed correctly. So
So
those 3 removed from the experts
Your
and come back as 3
8.3 is removed.
contracts.
Is that your?
3 items from it, just 3 items. And we'll bring those back as contracts, and we can bring them back on May 9th since they need to go forward.
Yes, let's take a look through that whole sheet and see if there are any other items that maybe shouldn't also be there. And so you can pass this consent agenda as amended minus the items. SYV consulting probably should pop off.
I think just those 3.
Yeah.
Could we add a 4th?
Which one?
Down at the bottom of the page, SYV consulting. That's also a contract.
Yeah, that does sound like one.
Okay.
That's up to you. All right.
It says continue, though. Do we have a contract already?
Just all contracts need to be.
No, if it says continue, I
Right,
was
then
wondering,
it's
does it
probably-
already have a contract?
Actually, I think you're right,
Yeah.
if we're already.
I think
just an
maybe if it's,
expenditure to-
Yeah, it's additional fees. Right.
So Peter, do you want a motion to approve items 8.1 and 2 and 8.4 through 10.3, and then we'll take 8.3 separately?
8.4 through,
So 8.1 and 8.2 and 8.4 through 10.3, and then we'll take 8.3 separately. So a motion can be made excluding those number of items.
Right.
So
Do
it's
I-
clear on the minutes.
Yeah,
It'll
right,
be
that
probably
would-
better.
That would be better.
did I hear you make that motion?
Okay, I would like to move to approve items 8.1, 8.2, items 8.4 through 10.3.
Okay, second,
Second.
discussion?
We have a couple of
Wait,
corrections.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just standing here to give you a couple of corrections on the permanent personnel under the classified reclassification. And you probably know that we have a process to, employees can submit requests that if their jobs have changed substantially, they can request that their job be reclassified. And wearing my new hat, I got to be involved in that process. And silly me, I thought just after we would go and reclassify them in HR, that was the last step. And Liz brought to my attention that there was one more step and that all those changes need to be negotiated. So we have a couple of minor changes that I want to, with a mea culpa, say, this is why there are changes. So the 2 athletic trainers, Joseph Ferraz and Susan Houlihan Davis, now will be moving to range 40, step 9. And the student program advisor, Miguel Gamboa will be moving to range 36, step 9. Those are the changes to that part of the agenda.
Okay. Questions about that?
Thank you for stepping up and doing this work. All of you guys. No, really.
Only till next Wednesday.
There have been so many moving parts in all of this, and you guys have all been phenomenal. Thank you.
Okay, so the motion before us is to approve the consent agenda, less the items that have been identified. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And I suppose we should now have a motion to approve all of those.
The 8.3.
Yeah. Well, no, what we have done is approve the consent agenda to make it a consent agenda. Now we approve the consent agenda. I know we haven't done that before, and maybe we don't need to introduce it here, but do you see what I mean?
It's very orderly, yes. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Okay. So we will, I will assume that we have also voted to approve those specific items.
Yes.
So do you want to revert to item 8.3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we move to approve item 8.3, experts and volunteers, excluding, read them to me, Angie.
D. Stafford and Associates,
D. Stafford and Associates,
Interact Communications,
Interact Communications,
and Lundgren Management Company.
and Lundgren Management Company, which will come back to us as contracts later.
Yep. Okay. So,
Oh, you need a second. You move to approve. Second.
Okay, thank you.
okay, motion is made and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Item 10, business services. Do we have a presentation on business services? We have,
No, I think you just.
No, we're just going to
Okay.
11.1.
all right.
I'll move to pass the resolution 13.
Motion is made to pass Resolution 13. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. We go to a roll call vote.
Wait a minute, I have a question.
Discussion, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My question is that we have on page 3 of 3, toward the top, it says, create budget for new AB 19 California Promise Program. The state revenue there is $583,918, and it looks like we are moving it to other operating expenses and to appropriation for contingencies. And it's the appropriation for contingencies that I was curious about, because my sense of that is that it's money that can be used for whatever contingency comes up. And it seems like the Promise Program money would be directed toward specific Promise Program items. So I'm curious how that's going to work, and what the Promise Program things we plan to do with that money are.
I don't know that off the top of my head. I'm going to have to get back to you with detailed information.
Sorry, I was
No, it's
late.
okay.
I sent in a question, but I was late in getting it in there, so
Yeah,
I
so
fully
I'll-
understand.
I'll get it for you and find out.
Okay.
I can try and look a little right now, but I don't think I can answer it well enough just by looking in the system.
That's fine. I mean, I'm just looking ahead to what are we going to do with this money, and will it have its own line item? So,
Do you want to pull it?
no. I trust it will come back in some more explicit form.
This is the busiest adjustment to the budget I think we've had ever. Yeah.
Okay. Student trustee Betty?
Aye.
Trustee Croninger?
Aye.
Trustee Nielsen?
Aye.
Trustee Abud?
Aye.
Trustee Haslam?
Aye.
Trustee Gallardo?
Aye.
Okay. Item 10.2.
Or 12.1.
I'm sorry?
12.1, update.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was on the wrong page. Updated 2019-20 budget development timeline. That would be you.
Again.
Sometimes, well, you get exercise this way.
This is a very long one. I have a lot to talk about. Sorry, I'm kidding. This is just an information item. We've updated the budget development timeline, which we tend to do around this time of the year just to clarify any changes that we've had throughout the process and make sure that the board and other shared governance groups have our latest timeline. Most of the edits that we made in this one was actually to CPC. There's nothing that's changed related to any of the board due dates or deadlines that are happening on there. So we just like to have it out there so everyone knows the current timeline. That's it.
Any significant differences from what we heard before?
No.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you.
I have a question.
Any questions? Yes.
Do we have a specific anticipated date for the May revise?
I do not have a specific date. It usually comes around May 15th.
Yeah, I just wondered if somebody had gotten more concrete about it.
I haven't heard. I have a webinar I'm going to on Monday that's a finance webinar, and I bet you I will learn more there.
Okay.
I read the letter that the league sent out. I mean, it sounded like a lot of what you were requesting, like the Prop 51, just a lot. So it seemed like you guys were all thinking the same thing, which doesn't always happen.
Yes, which is a really good thing, actually.
So they'll have some weight on that, hopefully.
There's been a lot of activism in the state.
Yeah.
For budget realignment.
Yeah, that letter was very detailed.
Yeah,
And
they've
taxes
done a
are
nice
up. Still.
Good luck, Lindsay. Thank you.
Item 13 is the search process for SBCC's new superintendent president. Luz, tell us what you know.
I'll tell you what I know. Good afternoon, members of the board and acting Superintendent President Ralston. I'm here just to give a quick update to the full board of activity that we sat down last week with trustees Abood, Croninger, and Hasland, and Dr. Benjamin to talk through the steps that needed to be taken to get this process initiated. So in your agenda, you have a great summary of what we discussed and some of the areas that we would like some direction from the board to move forward with this evening. So some of the things that have already taken place is the RFQ has gone out. We've gotten great positive response. I believe we have 5 firms that are planned to provide a proposal. So that closes tomorrow on April 26th. At that time, the members of that ad hoc committee will receive those submissions. And we had planned to meet on May 2nd with that ad hoc group to review the proposals and determine some finalists that will be asked to come and interview before the full board for you to select the consultant to conduct the search. In looking at the calendar, the proposed date for that special meeting of the full board to interview the finalists would be May 6th at 4 p.m. So one of the pieces that we'd like from the board this evening is if that date is going to work, that date and time, and we will move forward with that.
May 6th.
May
Monday.
May 6th at 4 p.m.
Busy week, board meeting, graduation, and this.
It is a busy time of year.
That's a Monday.
Probably. I'll make it okay.
I have ballet practice and lacrosse practice, but I think that we can do that.
Does that work for everybody? May 6th? I noted on the information sheet that the subcommittee was supposed to meet to screen the input on
May 2nd.
Wait a minute. May 6th is the board meeting?
May 6th will be the full board.
Right.
Where you will interview whichever finalists the ad hoc committee has selected out of the potentially 5 proposals that you will receive.
Right, but originally we were going to meet as an ad hoc committee on the 26th, and that's you indicated earlier that that's changed to May 2nd.
The 26th is the date that the submissions are due. So that got a little confused in the summary, but tomorrow on the 26th, by the end of the day, is when the submissions will be due. You will get copies of those submissions so that you're aware of, what came in, and you'll have between the 26th and the 2nd to review those. And when you come together on the 2nd, you'll make a determination on which to move forward to be interviewed by the board.
Okay, so we need a date or time on the 2nd to get together.
The three of us, yeah.
We can do that after the meeting.
Yes, we can arrange for that.
Okay, good.
So thank you for that. The next piece is the composition of the screening committee. So what you have in this description is basically the same format that has been used in the past. It is a representative group of all the different constituency groups on campus, and it also includes 2 at-large community members and a student from non-credit School of Extended Learning. So if that composition works with the committee, that will help those constituency groups identify the individuals as part of those campus groups. And the plan would be for those names to be presented to the board at your May 9th meeting. And I'm here today to give you a little bit more information about how we would conduct the search for the community member appointments. So similar to last time, we would do a public, press release through all of our media channels, our newsletters, website, get the word out and do outreach to solicit letters of interest from members of the community to participate in the screening. The plan would be for that press release and outreach to begin tomorrow and be open until May 15th. And then those submissions would be presented to the board at your May 24th meeting. And depending on the volume of responses that we get, that might be adjusted a little bit. But the idea would be to really do as much outreach as possible for members of the community that might be interested in this position.
And we're selecting 2 members of the community.
That's correct.
Okay.
And the piece, so I'd like some kind of direction that's the process we'd like to proceed with for that piece. And then the other piece that I'd like some direction on is for the student that's part of non-credit School of Extended Learning. In the past, this was a non-credit adult education student. In this case, we could kind of do the announcement together for the 2 at-large community members and then 1 student from School of Extended Learning. We also have a very robust email and communication system that Dr. Moreno has with the School of Extended Learning, where we could do the outreach for that student specifically to the School of Extended Learning. That might be a little bit easier. And I know Dr. Moreno would be a great partner in getting the outreach out to that population. But similarly, the interested students from that group would also come before the full board to be interviewed and selected. And that would be 1.
Okay, are there questions? Marcia?
I was just going to say, I'm in favor of the outreach for the non-credit student to be both, basically.
Okay. We can do that.
And really kind of follow maybe a similar process. The only difference being that if you're a student in non-credit, then you would, I don't know,
vying
check
for
a box or indicate that. That makes you somebody who is qualified under that category. You might also be qualified as a community member.
Of course.
And I would just remind folks that we have gotten terrific people that in that category. I mean, Dr. Marianne Kugler came to us as a student representative for non-credit and subsequently served on this board of trustees. And that was her, initial contact, I think, directly in the bigger picture.
Great, we can absolutely do that. As part of this outreach, we'll also prepare a web page on our website where we will post updates on how the search is going and any more information, especially for this recruitment.
Okay.
Any questions about that process?
I suppose the only confusing element, and just so we know that it is it's hard to find anybody in this community who hasn't taken classes through continuing education or its successor. So there might be the charge of duplication here, but I think so long as we understand that that's how it works, I think it'll be fine.
Well, I think part of the instructions can be to describe what your involvement has been in non-credit, why you particularly feel like you could be a voice for that that population. So I think some of that could get would be part of the instructions.
And
Plus, you're probably a current student. I mean, I think that's kind of the assumption. You are a current student in a current program. So, or since it's going to cover a time period, primarily the work will be in August for this committee, which is something everybody needs to know in this. I think it's August, maybe into September. The committee really does a whole lot of work for about a month. And so they have to be prepared to provide that amount of time. And that might, I don't know, that into the fall might be the time period when you're looking at, are you a current student?
Or you've been an active or involved student. I think there will be, we'll know.
There was also significant discussion at our meeting where, which we suggested that trustees would meet with their constituents and try to encourage them to participate in this process.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make sure you all have copies of the press release and the webpage so you can share with members in your districts or in your areas.
Thank you.
I like, Luz, that I hear you saying that the questions or the application will be written in such a way that it will be clear that this is an involved person in the School of Extended Learning, as to where it would be very obvious to us, to your point. Because I was wondering that too, but what I got from you was, yeah, they're going to make this clear so that it would be obvious.
Absolutely, and I would anticipate people who are interested are going to call and want to ask questions, and I'd be more than happy to kind of explain that to anyone who's really interested. And then, so we will do that, and we'll get that started tomorrow. And if the rest of the composition of the screening committee looks good, we can start letting the constituency groups follow their process to make appointments.
Yeah.
Since this will be a very rigorous walk, can I recommend we have 2 students appointed by the ASG, considering the amount of classes students take, so we could have enough students input in this? Can we have 2 students appointed by the ASG, since this would be a lot of work considering they have so many classes, and I don't think just one student will be able to do this. Can we have 2 students appointed by the ASG?
Kenny, there is a need for continuity. That is, the person appointed needs to be really ready to commit to the entire process. And I was going to get to that point as well and suggest that in the description of what we do, we be very clear about what our expectations are. This is not a cakewalk. This is a lot of work.
I understand. It's just finding the students who probably taking 12 units and adding this work just for one student would be so much for just one person, I think.
Yeah.
It has to be the same person for continuity for that work, the kind of work that they're doing. But you could conceivably have an alternate so that if you came up to the time period when it was actually going to start and somebody said, you know, something unexpected happened in my life, I can no longer do this, then you know who's going to be the person who steps in, like a jury, you know, alternate.
I mean, the reason for the continuity, Kenny, is that, let's say you have one student going through 50% of the applicants, and then a second student going through the next. There wouldn't be the exchange of information.
Yeah, I was just thinking 2 students sit on the committee in case one drops out and
No,
get on.
I understand your point of view is valid, and it probably is going to be true for other people as well. That's why it's very clear, very, very necessary to be clear in the instructions that we really do expect them to stay the course and actually do the work. Okay.
Absolutely. And the last piece, which doesn't require any direction from the board tonight, but is for information and for you to start thinking about it, is the list of desired characteristics for the superintendent president. These are taken from the last search, so just refresh your memory. There will be more focused discussion on your desired characteristics at future meetings, but thought that this would be a good tool for you to start thinking about what you will want to include in the job description and in desired characteristics that you'll provide to the screening committee. So that's for information.
Any comments on the preliminary comments on the characteristics?
So just to clarify, we're going to be redoing these characteristics, or we're using these similar ones?
These
Did I
are
miss something?
to just refresh your
Of what
memory.
we did last time?
Yeah,
Okay.
there will be at a subsequent meetings where your consultant will work with you on what if you want changes to this, you want to add things. This is just to start getting your mind thinking about it.
And the indicators in this on this graph are bold and broad, and there's this. And the devil is in the details. What do we mean by having by campus leadership, or what were the other ones? College leader and community leader. I think we would do well to really explain what we mean by those terms.
Is it? I know it's somewhere. I have it somewhere. But after this, they created the beautiful brochure, and that was outlined in there. Maybe if we could.
Right.
I'll go home and look for mine, and it might still be online, but if we could
Right.
get that, that would help, because that was all in there, in the pretty colored.
Yeah, it was in the final version. And, yeah.
Right. There are little paragraphs that go with each of these. This is just a summary of the idea, and then a ranking that was developed among all of us by saying what's most important to each of us converted mathematically.
Good.
And we've already dusted that off to look at what we may need to
Right.
update, so I'm happy to send that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
Any further questions?
Thank you, Luz.
All right.
May I interrupt for a minute? Marcia, Lindsay has an answer for you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is this to Marcia's earlier point?
Yes, so in response to Trustee Cronger's question on Resolution 11.1, the adjustments to the budget, the item that was the $470,800 underneath the column of appropriation for contingencies, it's simply in the wrong column. It should be in a column called Other Outgo, and what that is made up of is $385,000 in bookstore grants. So the new revenue coming in for the Promise program will go to bookstore grants, and the other $86,000 is for other types of student aid.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's fine that we approved it with that, because it's just a line typo thing.
Okay. We move on to item 13.2, report from board members. What do we have to say?
I've got some. So we had a good foundation meeting last week, and our gala is obviously on Saturday. But we have a new member on the foundation board. Her name's Lori Ashton. So I didn't know her before, but if anyone knows her, she's a new board member. 2 years ago, we talked about this last meeting, but 2 years ago, we voted to support a just cause ordinance with the city of Santa Barbara, and they're moving forward on that. So it's progressing. So that's good. I had mentioned it at one meeting, reminding them that we had approved this, not speaking for the board, but just stating that we had done that. Legislative, so I'm going to request we get some of these bills on the next agenda. I know it's the study session, but the House of Origins deadline is coming up too. And they're not controversial, but there's 3 bills the league is representing, and they sent us the email this morning. It's AB 30, which is the dual enrollment extension, AB 621, which is access to EBT on campus, which has been really successful at UCSB, so I think they're trying to put that at the community college level. And then SB 291, which I think is the most exciting one, which is going to create a more robust financial aid system for community colleges and take into account all the costs of going to college, not just tuition and fees, in doing that. So the league is asking us to send in letters of support, so I would like to get these on the agenda so we could support all 3. And then lastly, there's an event on campus at the Garvin Theater, May 8th at 5 p.m. It's called The Role of Community Colleges in Reducing Racial Inequality in Education. And then also at UCSB, Opposing Manifestations of Anti-Blackness by Reverend Dr. Jamie Washington on Sunday at 6 p.m. or April 30th at 6 p.m. It's not Sunday. So just wanted to let us know, because in our resolution we said we're going to educate ourselves more. These 2 events I found to go educate ourselves.
Great.
Yeah, Jonathan, I missed your second of the 3 items.
Second one was of the events or the bills?
The bills.
The last bill is Senate Bill 291, and it's called Reforming Financial Aid to Serve Community College
No, the one
Students.
before that, the middle one. You had 3.
612, the access to EBT.
Okay, EBT.
I can read the little quick 2-sentence blurb. It just
Thank you.
says, oh, you're good? Or you want me to?
No, I can look
Oh,
it
you
up,
got
that's
it,
no
okay.
problem.
But yeah, these are the 3 the league is representing we support.
Might be an idea to share these with everybody so that
Yeah.
we have a chance to read them and be prepared briefly next time to discuss and support.
And they were in the league's update this morning.
Yeah, yeah, I'll forward it
But
just in
maybe you're not on
case
the
not
listserv.
everyone has it.
I should be, but sometimes things suddenly
Yes.
change to junk that I mean, I got a junk that was me. I sent an email to me and it went into junk. And what are you thinking?
Wow.
So,
Well, summer dual enrollment is well underway, and so thank you to the faculty, and there are lots of eager students out there eagerly hoping to get an ad code. And Melissa Marina and her department have been phenomenal, and I know the faculty are giving out their stuff, and some students already got to enroll, so thank you. And so I just want to say thank you to the faculty, but I know Dr. Benjamin will be in contact with Santa Barbara Unified, but a future meeting, a joint board meeting might be important. There's a lot going on in that area, and there's a reason why we're experiencing such a high demand from our very high achieving students. And so we have to find a creative solution for this. But this summer is an exceptionally high summer where students and families right now are scrambling, trying to get into our summer courses. They're even willing to take summer 1, which is way before school gets out. So thank you for all the work. And I probably a lot to do with this because I tout how great it was for my daughter last year, and so I think I was like the poster child for, no, yes, send your daughter. And so the fact that I dropped my 14-year-old here, it spoke, and so now all her girlfriends are coming. So it's good, but now we don't have room.
We're happy to have them.
Thank you. And the parents are grateful.
Great.
Marcia?
Well, as Patricia mentioned, I did attend the faculty tenure reception, and it was a wonderful event. I really enjoyed it. It was great to hear how happy our newly tenured faculty are. Each of them, we had a little description about each person, and then they gave remarks, and those remarks included words like joy, how I went from, these are different people, I went from happy when I joined the college to happiest as over those 4 years. And one of the comments I loved the best was better than kittens. Better than kittens, just working here. So to a person, everybody was so happy, so upbeat, and really joyful about this event and about being here, and it was wonderful to hear that.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Good. Great.
I have to confess, the last part of last week and over the weekend, I have to confess the last part of last week and over the weekend, I was gone. I went to see my grandchildren. It was Easter, and had a wonderful time, but there wasn't really any events other than things I couldn't seem to budget in my time to attend. And other than that, sorry to waste your time reporting that I didn't do anything regarding the board.
Brevity is the soul of essence. Kenny, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. We're going into finals week, so it's very tense, and we're preparing. We'd like you to wish us success, and yeah, it's been a very super packed, fast semester, and our professors have pushed us so much. But they've been very, very helpful, and I'd like to thank them so much, to all faculty and staff who have helped us through the semester. the students are very grateful, and we are so happy with all we've learned this semester. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's all.
Okay. Item 14 is items for future board consideration. Are there any issues that we should add to a future agenda?
I just to reiterate that I'd like to schedule, I think it's important we schedule a joint board meeting with Santa Barbara Unified to just stay on top of our dual enrollment partnership, and Carpinteria obviously as well.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, we're on the joint meetings. We should have on the agenda sometime this coming year, our joint meeting with the city council. We, if we don't have those things sort of on the slate, we need to get them there.
And at some point, perhaps also a joint meeting with the Academic Senate. We've not done that for a while, and if that would be of interest.
Maybe we don't want to. Yes, we do.
I mean, I suppose it has to be of interest to both parties, and if it is, let's arrange it. If it isn't, let's not mention it anymore. Okay. Anything further? Is there any objection to adjourn?
I was just going to say, I'm confident we are going to be hearing about the budget, so, and any adjustments, deficit factors, all of that lovely stuff.
We certainly will. Okay.
Motion
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, everyone.